You are doing everything right, yet you are still drowning. In 2024, a six-figure salary is no longer a milestone. It is a survival strategy for the working poor. The math of the American dream is officially broken. Your 3% raise this year was a pay cut in disguise. While you are celebrating that extra $100, the math is quietly evaporating your ability to ever retire. You are not winning. You are just losing slower. If you feel broke earning a good salary, it is not because you are bad with money. It is because the system was designed to harvest your life force. If you feel like you are sprinting on a treadmill, cranked up to the absolute highest speed, sweating, exhausted, yet somehow still staring at the exact same wall, it is because you literally are. Your dollars are melting ice cubes. Every night you go to sleep, a tiny piece of your labor evaporates. Inflation is a silent tax on your pulse. It is a silent pickpocket standing in your kitchen, stealing one slice of bread from every loaf you buy, year after year. The American dream is being paywalled. You work 40 hours, but by the time the money hits your bank account and goes out to pay for your life, it only buys you about 30 hours worth of living. Meet Marcus. He is 34, a software engineer pulling in $115,000 a year. On paper, he is the top 15% of America. But look at the math. After the IRS, the $2,800 rent for a luxury studio, and a $900 truck payment just to feel successful, Marcus is exactly 2 paychecks away from total collapse. Now, before he even buys a single gallon of milk, 80% of his existence is already sold to someone else. And then there is the lingering shadow in his wallet, his credit card. Marcus is carrying $8,500 in credit card debt at a brutal 24% annual percentage rate. He feels tight on cash, so he pays the minimum balance. By the time Marcus pays for his groceries, fills his gas tank, and covers his basic utility bills, he is left with maybe $300 of actual breathing room for the entire month. If Marcus just keeps his head down and keeps paying that minimum amount on his credit card, it will take him 5.5 grueling years to clear that balance. He will bleed an extra $6,000 in pure, unadulterated interest. This is negative compounding at work. So, Marcus is not impoverished. Marcus is not lazy. But Marcus is a cash flow hostage. He is paying the ultimate opportunity cost of his labor. His paycheck, the physical representation of his time and life energy, is entirely spoken for before it even hits his bank account on Friday morning. Here's the truth that might sting for a second, but will ultimately set you free. The situation Marcus is in is not his fault, and if you are in his shoes, it is not your fault either. Highly paid analysts, the smartest algorithmic engineers, and the sharpest behavioral psychologists spend billions of dollars every single year studying you. They study how you click, how you feel, and how you cope with stress. They have engineered a modern world designed to make Marcus feel a deep, burning inadequacy unless he finances that $40,000 car. Or they made him believe he needs it just to be respected by people he does not even like. This is classic lifestyle creep. The modern credit system was not built as a tool to help you conveniently buy things. It was built as a net to harvest your future productivity. It is a beautifully crafted pair of golden handcuffs. But here is the catch. Here is the pivot. While falling into this engineered trap of consumption is absolutely not your fault, recognizing it and choosing to walk out the front door is your absolute, undeniable responsibility. No politician is coming to save you with a new policy. No magical corporate raise is going to suddenly outpace inflation and fix the math of your life. Escaping this cycle requires radical accountability. You have to draw a hard line in the sand. The system wants you to stay in this loop. But there is a glitch in their architecture, a boring, invisible escape hatch that the 1% uses to keep your labor from being harvested. It is not a lottery ticket. It is tactical sabotage of the status quo. First, we have to play defense. You have to stop the bleeding. You take out the scissors, you cut up the credit cards, and you attack that high-interest debt like your financial life actually depends on it. Because it does. At the exact same time, you start building a runway. You put 3 to 6 months of absolute bare-bones living expenses into a high-yield savings account. Right now, earning a solid 4 to 5% just to let your emergency money sit in an account is a gift you cannot ignore. That cash is not an investment. It is your shield against the chaos of life. Once the shield is up, we play offense. You take every extra dollar you can scrape together and you channel it into broad market index funds. Think of the top 500 companies or a total stock market fund. You do this through a process called dollar cost averaging. You buy a little bit every single month automatically. You buy when the stock market is hitting all-time highs. You buy when the market is crashing. You buy when the news cycle is panicking. It is the quietest, most resilient way to build an anti-fragile portfolio that can withstand inflation. It takes zero emotion. It requires zero predicting. It is just math. The goal is to reach a point where 4% of your total investment portfolio can comfortably cover your yearly living expenses. When that happens, a fundamental shift takes place in your existence. Work becomes optionality. It is no longer a desperate necessity to keep the lights on. You have officially bought back your own life. But I need to sit here and be perfectly honest with you about the hardest part of this entire journey. It is the part that no one likes to talk about. It is what happens after you finally start. For the first 3 years, it is going to feel like absolutely nothing is happening. The interest you earn will look like literal pennies. The compounding effect of your wealth will be barely visible to the naked eye. I call this the boring middle. This is the exact valley where 90% of people simply give up. They get tired of waiting. They get bored. They look at their friends taking vacations on credit. They cave to the social pressure, and they go finance a brand new truck to feel something. You cannot skip the boring middle. It is a rite of passage. However, there is exactly one valid way to speed up the process. It is relentlessly increasing your skill-based income. You use the security and predictability of your 9-to-5 job to buy back your evenings. You learn a high-leverage skill that the market actually values. Maybe that is data analysis. Maybe it is business-to-business sales. Maybe it is copywriting. You take an asymmetric risk. You invest a few hundred hours of your own time into upgrading your own brain for a massive, outsized potential return in the labor market. You are simply increasing the size of your shovel so you can dig yourself out of the hole much, much faster. Imagine Marcus at 45 years old. He does not have a supercar. He drives a reliable used sedan. But he sleeps soundly every single night because he owns his own time. True wealth is invisible. Calmness in the face of an economic storm is the ultimate luxury. The algorithm expects you to click away right now and go back to scrolling for cheap dopamine. That is how they win. They want you to see this as just another finance video instead of a blueprint for your survival. If you are still here, you are the glitch. The system wants you to spend money to look rich. The stoic choice is to keep your money to actually be free. If you want to know exactly how to set up this automated cash flow system so you never have to think about it again, watch the video on your screen right now. Being a glitch does not pay the bills. The runway does. Build it or stay a hostage. Your choice.